Doctor, it's time already, sir.
Yes, okay, you can start.
All right, sir. Good morning, everyone. I would like to thank you all for joining, even though most of you joined late. So we're going to kick off now. So we're on the last um course for the intermediate level, which is the operating model, channels, and service in the agency banking system. So our facilitator today is Dr. Obioa Oti. So I'll try to give a brief introduction before he comes in. So he is the CEO and Managing Director of Upswing Consulting and Trainings Limited. He is a highly experienced scholar, a consultant, and a corporate trainer. So with over a decade of experience in the industry, Dr. Obiaoti has worked in the banking industry for over a decade before he eventually resigned and entered into academics and business. He has a series. He's a serial entrepreneur, a prolific writer, and a publisher. He is the current national vice president of Association of Mobile Money and Bank Agents in Nigeria, also known as AMBAN. He's a seasoned training facilitator with expertise in banking and finance courses, sales, and entrepreneurship. He is also an external facilitator with many highly reputable institutions, including the Nigerian Interbank Settlement System, also known as the names CBN and etc. So Dr. Obioaoti is a holder of Bachelor in Engineering, MSc Engineering Management, BBA Business Administration, UNIZIC. And he has many other degree. Okay, he also have a degree in UK, Dove. So I can't really pronounce this, sir. So I think you do it yourself, sir. So he's a member of several professional bodies in Nigeria and internationally. He's also a fellow in the Institute of Management Consultant Nigeria, a member of International Council of Management Consulting Institute, ICMCI member, also a member of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, and also a member in the Institute of Chartered Economics of Nigeria, ICN. Also a member of the Chartered Institute of Finance and Control of Nigeria, CIFCN. So I will call on Dr. Obiawoti to please take on, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Israel. Good morning, class. Am I audible enough? Can you all hear me? Please confirm.
Yes, I can
Yeah,
hear you,
good
sir.
morning.
Okay, so I think we should start now, and the others will join us as we progress. Okay, so without much ado, I will go straight to the slide because we have so much to cover and our time is very limited. So let me go straight to the slide. Please, if as soon as you can see the slide, you confirm, let me know. I've started sharing. If you can see the slide, let me know.
Yeah, he's up already, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So now we have basically about 2 or 3 reasons why we are doing this, why we are here. The first reason is for you to pass this exam. That's the first reason, for you to pass this exam. Then the second reason is for you to gain knowledge in order to do your work as an agent banker or agency banking. That's the next reason, which is equally very important. And then the third reason is for you to have residual knowledge, for you to have general knowledge about this particular course. And the name of this course is Operating Models, Channels, and Services in the Nigerian Agent Banking System. In fact, I have taught this course in so many places. I've taught this course over the years. I teach this particular course in the NIPS training school. And I've taught this course also in the CBN International Institute in Abuja a number of times. So I taught this course under this platform last year. So as we are going forward, I will be making reference to some of these reasons why we are learning this. So when it gets to the exam, I will be very specific. And then when it gets to the knowledge of the job, what you will have to apply in your work, because I want to believe that quite a number of us are practicing agent bankers like myself. I'm an agent banker. They call us POS operators. So I want to believe that. So please, okay, I want to get back to the slide that I'm sharing. Are you still seeing my slides? I want to reshare it.
You just took it off now.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Okay, I
So
saw Professor.
let's go. Let's go. Now these are the details of what we are going to look into. We're going to look into the concept of agent banking. We're going to look into financial institutions operating through agents. We look into overview and management of agent banking network in Nigeria, fundamentals and overview of delivery channels, key delivery channels, strategy and application. Then we look at key agent banking operations and services. Then we look at agent transaction settlement and reconciliation. I'm not going to be reading this, okay? I want to believe that this material will be made available to you. So I will not be reading it per se, but I will be explaining as we go on. So just know the ground rules. Make sure you follow us, explore what we are doing, learn, have fun, join in. In fact, this is not going to look like a lecture. It's just going to look like an ordinary conversation that is geared at making you to improve your knowledge and give you some information to work with, and then prepare you for the exam as well. So I want to believe that many of us already know the nature of the exam. If you don't know the nature of the exam, you better find out the nature. The nature of the exam, I mean, is how many questions are you supposed to answer? How many questions will there be in the paper? Of course, you have objective tests, you have the knowledge-based test, you have the scenario-based test and all that. So that's not what I'm going into because of our time. But if in case you are in doubt or you don't know, you can ask and we will explain. So after this, hopefully, we are going to look into a few questions, practice questions, and then I will explain how you can answer some of the questions and the kind of answer you are required to give during the exam, how you are supposed to structure your answers so that you gain the maximum mark. Okay, so like I told you, I'm not going to read this, but I will explain. Now, we are talking of agent banking. So let's start from agent banking. What is agent banking? So it's a retail banking service in which a bank or financial institution or fintech or mobile money operator or telco is a telecommunications company, etc., contracts a third party known as an agent to provide certain financial services on his behalf. So each of these institutions I've mentioned, if they contract a third party to do agent banking on his behalf, then that is what we call agent banking. Now, I remember when I was a banker some years ago, at a point where the idea of agent banking was coming up, I was in a training at FITC. I was not a facilitator. I was one of the participants. So the conversation about that the central bank wants to introduce agent banking came up. And it was quite an expansive conversation and all that. Some people were like, was it going to be possible and all that? Before that very time, it has already started in some African countries like Kenya, some other East African countries, some North African countries and all that. So, and based on how successful this um, kind of banking was in other African countries, the central bank decided to adopt the model to bring to Nigeria. And here we are today, agent banking, the rest is history. Everybody knows agent banking, and it has really gone deep into expanding access to finance and financial inclusion. Okay, now I want to explain something. Sometimes we interchange the word agent banking with agency banking. So you need to understand that it's not exactly the same thing. They are different things altogether, but they are similar as well. So what is the difference between agent banking and agency banking? Now, if you look at it, an agent is an individual, one entity, but an agency could be a corporate entity that represent a group of persons. Okay, so there's a difference between an agent. Let's just use something we all are familiar with. Like we are all familiar with agent when you want to look for a house. All those people that act as a go-between the landlord and the tenant. So they are the agents. So they are the people you get. Some of them are actually the informal ones, the local ones that sometimes they try to exploit you. We know all about them. So they are agents because they are operating as individuals. But if it is an agency, maybe you want to do something, you have to contract an agency. You should not be expecting to deal with one individual. Now you are dealing with a corporate organization. That is an agency. So when we talk about agent banking, we are talking about individual agents that are acting on behalf of financial institutions to deliver financial services. Now, an agency also can do that. But so we look at agencies as a bigger organization, and their capacity should be bigger than that of agents. Okay. For instance, now myself, I don't consider myself an agent banker. I consider myself an agency banker. Why? Because I have multiple locations. I have quite a lot of staff. I have capacity in different places that transcend states and all that. At the point, I used to have over 100 locations where my staff operates agency banking. Okay, so in that situation now, that is agency, and I operate with a corporate name, not with my personal name. Okay, now, but for somebody doing as an agent banker, probably is operating as an individual. Maybe it's operating in one location or a few locations and all that. So that's just basically the difference. So, and both an agent and an agency can act on behalf of a third party, which is a financial institution. Now, in Nigeria, this model is crucial for extending banking services to unreserved and underserved and unbanked populations, particularly in rural areas where traditional banking infrastructure is scarce. Agents are typically small retail outlets such as grocery stores, pharmacies, post offices that have the capacity to handle basic banking transactions. Now, this is exactly what is in the CBN agency banking guideline. Okay, but a lot of things have changed. When agency banking started some years ago, and the idea is that before somebody will start this as an agent, you should have an ongoing business that you are managing and you understand cash flow. You already have some other things that fetch you money. Now, the cash flow coming from your business, you are expected to use it in order to service the agency banking business. But this time around now, a lot of things have changed. You now see that an agent will start operating, and the only service that the agent is rendering is just the POS, cash in and cash out. People come to withdraw, people come to deposit, and all that. So that is it. But some years back, when agency banking started in Nigeria, it was not like that. In fact, before we give you a POS, then as a banker, we come and check your location. We confirm that you have an ongoing business, even if it's a business center. People come there to do photocopy and all sorts of things. When we confirm that, we'll confirm that you have cash flow, you give us your account statement, we do all those checks and balances. Then we'll now start deploying the agent banking um, infrastructure and other devices that you need to function. Now, why I'm taking a little time to explain this is because in the exam, you may see something like this. Let me show us something from the practice questions. Let me show you something from the practice question. You may see something like this. Okay, I think this is it. Okay, can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Let me go to this particular course. Okay, yeah, that's it. So you may see something like this. Um, yeah, this it here. What is the main difference between agent banking and agency banking? This is it. This course. So you may see something like this. That's why I'm taking time to explain. Okay. So let's go back to the slide. We are going to look at some of these questions, hopefully, if we have time, and I hope we are going to have time. So, and answer them as much as we can. So let's go back to the original slide and continue the discussion. Okay, so these are some of the banks that have agents working on their behalf. The agents are not necessarily employees of these financial institutions, but they are working with them as a go-between. They are go-between connecting the financial institutions with their customers and other people that want to patronize them. Now, the list is not exhaustive, but as a practitioner within the industry, I know the key players. I can tell you the key players. You may not necessarily see that in the exam, but in agency banking, the top three key players that we have in Nigeria, we have Money Points, we have OPay, we have PAMPay, and then we have some of the commercial banks whose agent banking is strong, like First Money, and then we have Access, Closer, and the rest of them. So I've made a post on the social media. If you go to my Facebook platform, you will see top 10 agent banking organizations or institutions in Africa. I have that. So if you trace it, you can see the Obio Hauti on Facebook. Okay, so now just for your information, the management of an agent banking network involves several key activities. I'm going to mention these activities. So in an exam, you may see something like, what are the key activities that involve the management of agent banking network? So these are the key activities. The first one is agent recruitment and onboarding. The second one is technology deployment. The third one is monitoring and support. And the other one is liquidity management. I don't have to waste time explaining all these things, but agent recruitment and onboarding is just the process of getting an agent on board. That is for the financial institution. So there are criteria for them to go through and onboard an agent. It's not anybody on the street you see, you take. Why we are explaining all these things, so that when you see some infractions going on, some things that are not right, you know that this thing is not right, even though it's going on. Now, as an association, AMBAN, ourselves, we are also involved in certain level of regulating what is going on within the industry. Now, we can come around and point out some of the things that are happening because it is our industry, it is our space. So it can point out some things that are going on that are not in order according to the agent banking guidelines from the central bank. So now if you see maybe some people operating under umbrella as individual agents or using the POS to hawk, like moving from one location to the other without a specific address. All these things are infractions. You may even see them in the exam to point out some of the infractions. So that you see some things happening does not mean that they are supposed to be like that. So I want to advise that if you have to sit for this exam also, you need to also be familiar with the agent banking guideline. Of course, we have a course about the agent banking laws and all that. So you equally need to know that so that by the time you see some things happening, you know which one is the right one and which one is the wrong one. Then if you see an agent that is onboarded that is not qualified, you know that, yes, this person is not qualified, but maybe because of competition or because of some financial institutions want to have agents, they just recruit anybody they see on the street. Then technology deployment is talking about some of the devices, some of the infrastructure, and all the things that enable connectivity and real-time transaction processing. That's about technology. Then monitoring and support involves VCs or field agents, auditors, performance tracking, and even regulatory agencies. It equally involves support and technical assistance to those that are in the field. Then liquidity management is you need cash to function. You need money. So liquidity management is talking about how agents can manage the cash that is at their disposal in order to be able to do their job effectively. Financial institutions also provide mechanisms for cash replenishment and float management. We're going to talk about liquidity management in detail. In fact, I have almost about 5 slides for liquidity management. So we are going to increase a bit speed. We are going to run a bit faster. Okay, so let's look at delivery channels in agent banking. So now, when we talk about channel means the means, the platform that you use to discharge the duties of an agent. That is what we mean by delivery channels. Now, these channels are designed to be accessible, user-friendly, and efficient. In an exam, you can see a question like, what are the characteristics of a delivery channel in agent banking? So one of them is user-friendly, efficiency, accessible, and all that. So these are the what qualifies a particular channel to be a good delivery channel. Now, so some of these delivery channels include POS terminals. So one of the key delivery channels you see in most agent banking outlets in Nigeria is the POS. That is why almost every agent banker is called the POS operator. In fact, sometimes when I go for interview, maybe in the media, I know Channels TV and the AIT, they are usually fond of that. They will just use POS to show that these are agent bankers. Or maybe they will say one of the POS operators is here and they are referring to me. Even though I don't regard myself as a POS operator, I regard myself as an agent banker. Okay. So now, what are POS terminals used for? They are used for cash withdrawals, deposit, and payments. Now, these are just limited uses. There could be so many other uses because the POS is designed in such a way that it could take so many. By the time we will come into other services that are being taken by agency bankers or agent bankers, you will see so many things that can equally be done through the POS. Then we have the mobile phone. Mobile phones through mobile outlets facilitate mobile money transfer, bills payment, and account inquiries, account opening, so many other things. We are going to get to that. They will have the web portals. The web portals, you can access it even through your mobile phone as well. Maybe you are your PC, that is your tabletop or your palm top or your laptop, all those other devices, you can use them to access the web portal. Okay, so I've already explained this, so I don't need to go through it again. But the strategy behind it is what we need to explain. What are the strategies behind choosing the delivery channels that you want to choose? For the POS, the strategy is that usually positioned in high traffic retail outlets. That is why you even see some of these people roaming around with it. When they notice that they cannot get a space on a place that has high traffic, they can now try to move to that place, shouting POS, POS, so that people can get their attention and all that. Then for mobile phones, you can use USSD codes, you can use mobile apps, and you can even use the particular fintech platform or the bank platform for that. And then web portals, the strategy behind it is that can provide an online platform for transaction management and reporting. Okay. Now let's look at this. E-agent banking operations and services. I said we are going to come to this. What are the main agent banking operations and services? So this list is not exhaustive. So if you are into agent banking and you are not doing all this, note that you are underperforming. You are performing at a minimum. So check. I want you to check yourself. How many of these are you doing? At the end of the training, I will actually ask this question to know how many are doing up to 100%, 80%, 60%, and so on and so forth. Account opening or customer registration. These are the things that, and all these things you are expected to make money doing them as an agent banker. If you are doing it and you are doing it for free, devise a way to make money, but make sure you are doing anything in compliance with what your principal, the financial institution, expects you to do. So the first one we are looking at now is account opening. You should be doing account opening as an agent banker. I should be making money doing it. Many of the financial institutions, they have percentage, they have a certain way of compensating you when you open an account for them, and especially when the account is funded by the customer. Then next, customer service. As an agent banker, you render service to the customers. They do inquiry. They even check account balance. Okay, maybe account balance checking could be free. But I know there are places that is you pay something before somebody will check your account balance for you. So always find a way you can attach something if it is a place where people really need that service and they really don't have alternatives. You can make money even if it is small money. Bill payments. Are you doing bill payment in your location? Let's be faster. E-commerce. E-commerce is very important. Agent bankers are making money through e-commerce. Right now in Amban, we have a particular e-commerce company that has come new. They have come to disrupt the system, and they are really doing well. So many of the agent bankers we have also are encouraged to join them. The name of that platform is Swave. Okay, they are into e-commerce and they are trying to use agent bankers in order to drive their platform. And it's a very lucrative one. You need more information on that, we can give it to you. Then we have cash withdrawals and deposits. This is the one that many of us are familiar with. ECO, cash in, cash out. Suspicious activity reporting. You know, as an agent, you owe it a duty to the government and to your financial institution to report suspicious activities, to report fraud, to report anything you think can make business to go wrong. Because your activities can lead to sanctioning your bank. The central bank recently sanctioned some financial institutions as a result of a lot of infractions. And some of the sanctions run into millions, hundreds of millions, and even billions. make the inquiry, do a research, and you notice that what I'm saying is true. So we can help our principals and even ourselves to reduce this. From time to time, I get calls from the EFCC, from the DSS, from the police, and some other law enforcement agencies requesting for information in order to nip some criminals in the bud. Okay, so we as agents, we are the first port of call when these things happen. Sometimes they use some of our locations to collect ransom money that as a result of kidnapping. Sometimes they use our locations to do all sorts of things. I have a course that is related to something I will use to explain this in details. But for this one, what you need to know for now is that it is your duty as an agent to report suspicious activities. Then we have customer education and issue resolution. So it is your duty also to educate your customers, to give them information. And then if they have issues, if they have challenges, you find a way to resolve it, just like they do in the bank. Okay. So this one now, this resolution of issues and education of customers, you can actually monetize it. Maybe towards the question and answer time, I will tell you how you can monetize it. I've monetized this kind of service and I've made money with it. Then fund transfers, not much explanation on that. You will all know it. Then identity services, BVN and NIN, we equally do that. If you are not doing this one and you want to do it, please, you need more information. Yeah, you can get back to me because, or you can ask the closest urban location within your environment. Agents need to be doing ID services, BVN and NIN. Then liquidity management, this is basically how you manage your cash. How are you managing your money? The money you have, is it enough? Of course, even if you have hundreds of millions, it can never be enough. So agents are always in need of cash. So you need to do that. I told you I have about 5 slides on liquidity management, so we'll get to that. Then agents also collect insurance, payment, taxes, even pension. There are so many, anything that has to do with collections, payments and collections, agents are into it. Then bill payment like airtime top up, pay TV, energy, that is NEPA. Okay, all the discos, agents do that. Then loan disbursement and management. There are so many other things. This list is not exhaustive. But in an exam, if you are asked, mention 5 key agent banking operations and services, please pick 5 from here and mention it. However, there are some key ones. If you are asked a question like this in an exam, don't start from e-commerce. Don't go and start from e-commerce because these are new services that are coming up. Why not start from cash withdrawals and deposits, accounts opening and customer registration, bill payment, liquidity management, all those key ones. Because if you go and start from e-commerce, maybe the question, the marking scheme may not have all the details. They just mention the top 5. Then you go and write one that is not in the marking scheme. You may get it right, but you will lose the score. Okay, let's look at agent onboarding processes. So which process comes first? What are the processes an agent goes through before he can actually be onboarded? So let's just look at it. The first one we have is market scoping. Market scoping is a kind of research to check what's going on in the market and all that. The market scoping is done jointly by the agent and by the financial institution. Now, how does the agent do market scoping? The agent does market scoping by checking. I want to start agency banking business. I want to start agent banking business. Now, which financial institution should I use? Should I use First Money? Should I use Money Point? Should I use OPay? You look at the pros and cons. Who do you know that will assist you? Which of their offices is closer? Then now you look at the details of their commission and charges, their incentive and all that. That is market scoping. Then for the financial institution, they equally have their own market scoping, the research that they want to do and all that before they even join the business, because we are talking also on the part of the agent and on the part of the financial institution. Then we have idea pitch. As soon as you do your research, based on your research, you pitch your idea. You've not made taking a resolution on what exactly you want to do. You've decided, taking decision. So the next thing is documentation. You now meet the financial institution as an agent, and then they will request you to send some documents, mostly KYC documents. KYC means know your customer. If you are a business as a corporate entity, you do KYB, know your customer's business or know your business. You submit your business documentation and all that. And then after the submission of documentation, they validate, they check it out whether it is correct or wrong. They do address verification. They check out if you submit your bank documents, they look at it. You can submit your BVN, NIN, they validate all those things. Okay? If you submit tax papers, they check it out with the FRS or the necessary tax authorities. And after validation, they set the agent up. So as an agent, you are set up. By the time you are set up, you are given your account number or your wallet ID or your every other ID, okay, that connects both your POS, both your phone, uh, mobile platform and all that. And then the agent begins operation. That is the agent onboarding process. So in an exam, you may be asked to mention 5 agent onboarding process, or you may see in the objective test, they can just say which of these is not correct in terms of agent onboarding process. They will now go and put validation first, then put idea pitch last also. They just tweak the whole thing, scatter it. So this is the correct thing. From market scoping to idea pitch to documentation to validation to agent setup, and then agents begins operation is the last one. Now, it does not end when agent begins operation. There will still be agent monitoring. There will still be agent reporting. There will still be so many other things. But this is just a brief summary of it. Okay, so let's look at key considerations of a DFS agent network. DFS here means digital financial services. So which are the key considerations? What this is actually talking about is what are the things you consider before setting up an agent and a network? Okay, so the first one you look at here is the agent network size. You look at the size. What size of a DFS agent network do you want to set up? Okay, so now when you are looking at it, you look at the competitors around you. So if there are too few customers, then if there are too few customers cannot be adequately served. Okay, so for you as an agent, you want to make money. Are you supposed to go looking for where you are going to run into a lot of competition with other agents? Probably not. Okay, so it's a strategic consideration when you want to set up. And then for the commercial bank or for the fintech, for the financial institution generally, they are equally going to look at some other reasons like that just for his own business. Okay. Now we look at the next one. The next one is location. You want to site your business. Which place are you going to site it? Of course, strategic locations with high customer traffic. So you don't want to go and site your business or put up your kiosk or put up your umbrella. Let's even assume that the umbrella is now legitimate. You don't want to go and put it where nobody is coming. Okay? You want to go and put it where, like, people will be coming, that place will be busy and all that. Okay, then we look at agent performance. A strong correlation between the number of transactions and performance. So these are the key considerations. This one is closely tied to activities, because it is only when the agent is busy with activities that the agent performance comes to play. Now, this is just an idea of some of the things you look at. I have not said that this is exhaustive. This is not all. because there are some other ones that is not here. Security is very important. It's also a key consideration of a DFS network. The security I'm talking about is both physical security and digital security. Now, will you go and site your kiosk in a place where armed robbers will always come and attack you? If you know a place where it's not safe and you are carrying millions of naira, that kind of place is not the kind of place you want to go and site your business as an agent. The same thing is applicable to banks or other financial institutions. If you notice, you discover that even some banks make it a duty to make sure that they site their branches where there is a police station or army barrack or anywhere they can access all these law enforcement that can protect them when anything happens. So these are key considerations of a DFS agent network. Then talking about digital security also, if you are hosting your platform, let's say you are a new fintech and you are coming in to do agent banking, you don't host your platform on an online site or in a particular server where attackers can easily come in, crash, and steal all your resources. You don't do that. Recently, a number of businesses have been attacked online and a lot of money have gone under. So these are the things that you check. But the key ones are these three that I mentioned here, and I'm sure in an exam, these are the things you you have to look at. We can even expand it. The main important thing in this course is for you to understand, because some of the things we are teaching here, in the exam, it may not come exactly like that. I'm going to show you at least. We're going to look at a few questions so you understand what I'm saying. But if you go through this course and you actually in the field doing this work, definitely you have the knowledge to pass the exam very well. Okay, let's look at importance of agent incentives. Agent incentives mean what the agent gets as a result of doing his work as an agent. Now, if you are not being paid well as an agent, or you feel that the financial institution that you are working with, that is a principal, is not compensating you well, you will not give your best to the work you are doing as an agent. So it's very important that financial institutions, in fact, when I teach this in the NIPS training school, or when I go to the central bank international training institute, where all banks come and financial institutions and all that, I try to stress this so that they understand that agent performance is very closely tied to incentive. So now let's look at the incentives. Agents who find value tend to invest more in the business. If an agent feels that this particular platform, let's say for instance, now let's say agents of PalmPay feel that the PalmPay is doing them well, that as they are doing transactions, they are making more money, they are more likely to remain with that platform. And not only that, they are more likely to encourage other people, their friends, their family, and so on, to come and join. If they are in an association also, they'll be emphasizing that platform, that this is the platform that is doing us well. Again, they encourage customer acquisition, which promotes a reliable service. That's part of it. Then, agent incentive is good for brand equity. Where if your agents are doing well, it is portraying your brand as a very good brand. Okay. For instance, now you see, let's say POS operators representing a particular financial institution. You see them, they are living fine in their office. The office is looking fine, and people are seeing them as people that are doing well. Their agents are at every level across all strata, like maybe the super agents, the agents, and all that. All of them are doing well, depending on their capacity. It's good for their brand equity. Then motivated agents will service the customer better. Of course, you know that. If an agent is happy, the customer is happy. They say, happy wife is happy life, Abi. But this one now, I say, happy agent is happy customer. So agents that are angry, they will always frustrate the customer. And from our research, we know that so many local governments in Nigeria, in fact, over 700 uh, local governments we have in Nigeria, just few of them that has bank locations. In a typical state, you may not have, apart from a state like Lagos or maybe a place like Abuja or Port Harcourt, these are the developed, highly developed places in Nigeria. But in typical rural places, let's say a place like in Zamfara State, it may just be the state capital and maybe one or two other local governments that you have bank locations. A place like Ebonyi State, for instance, now could just be okay. Abakaliki is the state capital. Then we have Afikpo. These are places you may see banks, and maybe one or two other places. You go to a place like Zamfara. A place like Zamfara, you have the state capital. You have the banks. Then maybe one or two other places. Bauchi State, the same thing. You have the state capital. Then you have okay, there is another commercial hub that you have some banks like that. But generally, most of the places, they don't have banks. Now, who are the people that are representing the banks in these places? It is the agents. So the financial institution should care that the agents are motivated, because if the agents are not motivated, they are not going to, treat your customers well. Then another one is to reduce the risk of agent churn. Agent churn means agents leaving your platform. This one happens every time. Even if you are the one that branded the agent's location, okay? We come to a particular place. You see first money from outside. You paint it with your branding colors, to design everything. Inside there, they may not be using your devices. They may not be using your POS. They may not be using anything that has to do with you. They have already left you behind. It's just that the place is looking like a first money shop, but inside it, they are using other devices of other financial institutions, because those financial institutions are doing them well. The rule of exclusivity is not applicable in the current agent banking guideline. Okay, so you need to motivate your agents. Well, that is if you are a financial institution. Then for us, those of us that are aggregators or who have multiple agent location, even if you have staff working for you as well, as much as possible, as far as you can, also motivate your staff so that they treat the customers well. If they don't treat the customers well, you equally have a problem, like the financial institutions that are not motivating the agents well. Okay, let's look at agent profitability very quickly. I don't need to explain these ones much. We have the floats. These are the things that drive profitability. We have rebalancing costs. We have volume of transactions. We have average commission size, and we have average commission value. Now, the float is basically talking about how much are you doing business with, how much money, because we usually recycle the float from time to time. If you don't have a large float, you will always run out of cash. So when people come, maybe you start in the morning with 200,000. By the time you get to about 11 o'clock, you don't have money again. Please, who is distracting us? Mute your mic. Iwe Antonia, please, mute your mic. Okay, thank you. So, but if you have a large float, let's say you have about 2 million, and the number of people coming to withdraw from your location are withdrawing less than that. The more people that do withdrawal from your location, the more money you make. Or maybe they are bringing deposit for you and you are using it to pay out. When people are bringing money and you are paying out, all these things affect the amount of float you have, and it will affect your profit. Then the balancing cost is talking about all the cost of transactions that you are using to work. It includes the calls that you make, the transportation involved. You go from your location to the bank, you go from your location to the office of your principal, and so many other things. Then volume of transactions. Volume of transaction is closely related to the float, because it is the float that you have that determines how much transactions you do. Another thing that affect volume of transaction is how many customers that come to you, because you may have a large float, but if customers are not coming, the transactions will not happen. Okay. Then we have average commission size and value. These ones are determined by the financial institution. And also to some extent the agent, because if the financial institution sets a commission for you, you can equally add something. That is if it is allowed, if it is permissible. Okay. For instance, if they are saying that, okay, in a transaction of, let's say, 5,000 naira, your commission there is 100 naira. If somebody is trying to withdraw 5,000 naira and you think that 100 naira is not enough, if it's allowed, you can make the person to pay 200. So you gain the commission from the financial institution and equally gain the one you added for yourself. But generally, my advice is this. I've said it so many times, even in public. I've said it in Channels TV. I've said it in AIT. An agent is supposed to be profitable. You're supposed to make money. You are not a charity organization. So if in your location you are not making money, look at what is the reason. If you are not charging enough, charge enough. Then if you are not efficient in your operation, then find out the reason why you are learning this thing is for you to be efficient, not just to pass the exam, for you to be efficient in your work and make money as an agent. Okay. So in an exam, you may be asked this question. All these things I'm talking about exam. If I say it, please note so that when the question comes, you will not forget or you may not make a mistake. A question can come this way. Mention 5 agent profitability drivers. Or if it is a multiple choice question, that is OBJ, objective test, they will ask you, which of the following is not an agent profitability driver? Okay? They will say floats. They may say tax cost. They say all sorts of things like that. So if you don't know the answer, you get disorganized. They may even say volume of the financial institutions P&L. Okay. If you don't know, how does the volume of the financial institutions P&L affect the agent profitability in the agent location? So you get confused in that. So just take note of that. Okay. Now, what should providers focus on or monitor in an agent location or generally in agency banking? What should providers focus on? Like, for instance, let's say you become a state supervisor or coordinator for a particular platform. As a state coordinator, let's say a new fintech comes up on board and it's called, um, let's say OT fintech, for instance, and you are the state coordinator. What are you supposed to be looking on? What are you supposed to be focusing on in order to make sure that your platform works? Okay, so these are the things we are going to look at. Complaints. Now, I deliberately made this complaint number 1. Even during my banking career, as a bank manager, I made sure that I created platform even beyond the one that the bank made possible for people to complain. When customers complain, your business is more likely to improve or to do better. So these are the things you should focus on. Complaints. The agents bringing complaints to you and the customers bringing complaints to the agents. Transactions. Now, the transactions are the things that determine profitability because every business is around to make profit and serve the people, though you serve the people first and make the profit second. But everything defaults back to transactions. If you are not doing transactions, you are not going to make profit. So you need to check. If you give POS to somebody, now I'm talking about, let's say you are an aggregator or you are a bigger agent and you have other small agents under you. Or maybe you even give POS to merchants and maybe some other people doing other transactions. And then you are looking at the dashboard and you are not seeing transactions coming in. There is a problem. So every day, as an agent or as a financial institution, you look at your dashboard, you generate the report. You begin to look at, categorize, because ab initio, before you give anybody any device or sign up any agent, you give them targets. create budget for them. That is what we are going to use now to do what? To check their performance. So if the person is performing far below budget, then that is an issue. The transactions are not coming in. Then we look at customer and agent acquisition. That is for agents that are expected to acquire customers, or agents that are expected to acquire other agents that will acquire customer ultimately. Then look at the float and cash. How much is the person doing the business with? Is there anything you can do? Some financial institutions help their agents. Even as an aggregator myself, I used to give some float to my agents to do transactions, because the more float they have, the more likely you are going to do more transactions, and then the more profit that will come in. Then training, very important. So many financial institutions don't train their agents. We have discovered that. So it's important that as an agent, you get trained even beyond passing an exam. This is a training for you to run your allocations. But I just that we are in a hurry. I would have wished we have opportunity to have time to talk about all these things in the nitty-gritty way. But unfortunately, this is for exam refresher, so there's no time for that. Then competition activities. You should be interested in those competing with you as a financial institution, even as an agent. If you have other agents around your vicinity, you should find out what is going on. Okay? Because if you don't find out, very soon your business will fizzle out. Maybe the person is now charging lower than what you are charging. You know, the agent banking business is a retail business, and in most retail businesses, price is a differentiating factor. A lot of people care about price. You will be surprised that when an agent removes 50 naira, it's likely to draw more people, especially in the present day Nigeria, where things are very difficult for almost everybody. So you need to know what your competitors are doing so that your business can do even better. When you know what they are doing, you can tweak your own business to do better than them. Then partner relationships, that one is explanatory enough. Platform performance, I've already explained that. Look at your dashboard and all that. And the platform performance can equally include how fast is the if you do a transaction now and the other person is supposed to receive it, how fast will it take? You know, because if you go to the market, I've done a research in the market in Lagos, and I asked a question in some markets like that. I've done it in Yanokwaja. I've done it in the island. I've done it in a few places where I asked customers, not agents now, customers or merchants that are carrying POS, like, which of the platforms do you think are fast when transactions occur on them? And they mention, I don't want to mention that the names they give me here, but you know, some of these things happen as a result of perception. Some of them happen as a result of indoctrination, where people tell people that this particular platform is very fast. You do a transaction, I bet at the end, all of them pass through a particular switching platform. It needs most of almost over 80% of the transactions are being routed through NIPS switch. Okay, so the idea of one being faster than the other may not be actually the correct thing, but there could be other factors that influence when transactions are initiated and when they eventually hit the target at the other bank. But then some other things, like if the platform is always down, like you come to do a transaction, somebody slots the card, the debit card or the credit card, and it's not working or it's showing error. These are the things that affect platform performance. There are some other ones, but we don't have time. Let's move forward. Then branding. Branding is where the financial institution brands their, you know, their color, their other branded elements on the agent location. If the person is carrying umbrella, maybe you are carrying the umbrella representing the brand of that financial institution. And then we have the premise, which is the location where the transaction is actually going on. So let's look at the question that can come from this. What should providers focus on or monitor? So you can see which of the following is not what providers should monitor. Mention 5 things providers should monitor. Now, remove which one now is an odd element in this, things like that. So these are the things providers should monitor. Now, also know that I can even give you more than 20 things that providers should monitor, but these are the key ones. If you are answering this question, always mention complaints. Complaint is very, very important. And providers should create both digital and physical platforms where complaints should be collected. In a typical location, you should even create something like a complaint box, physical box where people can write something and throw in. So you can equally create something like a survey sent to people via email or WhatsApp or anything so that people can make sure that they complain. Then another thing is if there are issues, how do you resolve it? You should make it easy. That is why some financial institutions, I don't like mentioning specific names, they create the channel of resolving complaints on both the mobile version and even on their POS. Okay? So they create that on the POS so that if you have a failed transaction, the person can easily log it with the POS. And if the person logs it, it expects at least 48 hours or even less for the transactions to go through. Okay, let's move forward. Who will conduct agent monitoring? I'm not going to explain all this one, but I'm going to just show you some of the people that are supposed to be conducting agent monitoring. Sales teams. You understand what sales teams are? Sales teams include agents, includes sales teams directly from the financial institution. Internal auditors, we already know who they are. Risk/compliance team, either from the bank or maybe even from the central bank. Central bank has the right, but they don't necessarily need to visit the agent locations, but they have the right to do that if they have to. Call center teams, from time to time, they call in and ask how you are doing in that agent location. Third-party agent network managers or external auditors, like agent network managers or aggregators that are big in size. Regulators, internal and external. I mentioned like the central bank, the internal compliance teams within the organization. Then the agent. Now, why I put the agent in the center there is that it is the agent that should conduct agent monitoring. If you monitor yourself, nobody can monitor you and catch you. Okay, so compliance is everybody's business. If the agent complies, all these other people will just be routine. They have just been doing routine work. So as the agent, you are the person that is supposed to make sure that you are doing the right thing, because compliance is the business of everybody in the industry. Okay. The question that can come from this is like mention a key question could be the main person, that should conduct agent monitoring is dash dash that they will put agent, put other ones. It is the agent that should monitor himself. Or if you have an aggregator, which is a bigger agent, is the person that should directly monitor agents under him. It is only when the issue is beyond him that it can escalate to or any of these other ones. But all of them are the right answers. Okay. Now, how to effectively conduct agent monitoring? The first one is dedicated teams from the service provider working on it full time. Yes, some service providers have dedicated team to monitor agent, but most of them don't have people that can be physically around to do that. They do the monitoring most of the time online. Then daily transaction monitoring, that is if you spool the platform, you can get a report and that will help you to monitor. Then visits periodically by internal audit and the control department quarterly, sometimes half yearly, the particular team. Then provision for regular MIS and the monitoring reports. MIS means Management Information System. Then call centers can be leveraged for collecting customer feedback. Periodic customer surveys on a quarterly or annual basis can be conducted. Quantitative parameters should be monitored in real time through MIS. Then on-site visitation at the agent locations to monitor. And these are just hypothetical situations. Why I said that is this is what is supposed to be, but in reality, is not like that. Okay, most agents are practically on their own. Now, why I did not put the association of agents here is because it's not yet in the central bank guideline for agent banking, but we are hoping that it will enter there very soon. Okay, so, but for now, these are the ways to effectively conduct agent monitoring. But again, also, I have to add that even the association also is into agent monitoring because they look at what the agents are doing advocacy and awareness and other things to make the industry better. Okay, I will skip this. I will skip this. If there is time, we'll come back to it. Implementing agent monitoring, the first money example, I'll skip this. Then I'll equally skip this. Now, common emerging DFS and agent network models. I'll just mention it and then pass. These are some of the models. First of all, we had the bank-led. We had the bank-led first. The bank were the first people that started agent banking. After the bank, we had the fintech and third party. After the fintech, we have the telco-led model. We don't have the blockchain or crypto-led yet, but it could get to that. There are some countries in the world where there is agent banking via the blockchain or cryptocurrency platforms. But in Nigeria, we only have these three, bank-led, we have fintech-led, we have the telco-led. Don't have the other one because of the attitude of the government towards that. It could change, who knows, tomorrow. Then let's look at the integrated ecosystem evolution and operating models. So this is basically talking about the products, the technology, and the channels. Okay, so, and of course, we are mentioning the products, we are mentioning the technology and the channels that they are using to operate. Okay, let's look at agent network management strategies and marketing. That's it. If you remember when we started, we mentioned different categories of what we're going to look at. So this is part of it. Okay. What does an agent require to do business? An agent requires at least phone, Android 5.0 and above. Okay. Or agent can use an iOS device, but majority of agents are using Androids. Now, why do you need a mobile device? Because it's readily available and easily accessible for any mobile network. Then an agent will need internet service. Then, of course, POS is a readily available platform. Most banks and MMOs give this free or maybe with minimal charge. Bluetooth printer or any other kind of printer, an agent will need cash, electricity, power bank, location. So now the essence of this now is to tell you what an agent requires, minimal requirement to start agent banking business. So in an exam question, you may see a question like this. Mention at least 5 things required for an agent to do a business. Or maybe in an objective test question, the following are the things that an agent requires to start a business. You see A, internet service, B, POS, C, printer, D, cash. Then maybe you will now see another question like something like they will put something that is tricky. Maybe ledger. Okay? Or they put something that is not part of this. An agent will require to keep records, but we have not necessarily said it requires a particular kind of record, maybe ledger, maybe journal, or anything. Okay, so just take note. Then let's look at marketing techniques in agent banking. Agent banking, like I said, is a retail service, and in fact, it's a rural kind of retail service. The main agent banking don't happen in developed societies like in the cities. The main agent banking should happen in the villages, in the hinterlands. It should happen in rural locations. So now, in such places, how do you do your marketing? You use word of mouth. You can use banners to show signs, put it outside the business premises. Then you can use referral, word-to-word referral by those who patronize. Then agents also can use jingles, repeated announcement, and so on. So in the marketplace, remember, we are not saying anything digital here, like go to the social media and post an advert. We have not said something like going to the media outlets, maybe mass media, television, or radio. These are the key rural things that an agent does when he opens a location so that people come there to patronize him. And so we have categories of agents. You know, if you remember, I've been talking about different types of agents. I've been mentioning aggregators, super agents, and ordinary agents. So now let's look at them clearly. Agents are usually of various categories, namely basic or ordinary agents, aggregators, super agents. So these are the kind of agents you see. The super agents, some of the MMOs or fintechs are also categorized as super agents. So some of them are operating with a license of super agents. Then the aggregators are agents that has other smaller agents under them. Some aggregators have more than 100 agents. I used to have even close to 1,000 and more than that. Okay. So some aggregators even have far more than that. So now, what does the aggregators do? The aggregators, what they do is that they liaise between the financial institution or the super agents and the ordinary agents. So it's the aggregators that manage what the agents are doing, like collecting the devices, resolving issues, complaints, kind of go between the financial institution or the super agents and the basic agents. And then the basic or ordinary agents directly serve the customer. These are the people that just interact with the customer. Some of the aggregators also act as ordinary agents. So they serve the ordinary agents and equally serve the customers. Okay, so let's move forward. I've already explained all this, so I don't need to waste time because of our time. I don't need to go into all these ones I've explained. You already know what it is. Okay. Um, Persons seeking to enter into agent banking business should decide from the beginning the level at which they wish to play when they start the business. If you want to play as an MMO or a super agent, of course, you need a license to do that. But the aggregators don't need a license and the ordinary agents don't need a license. All you just need is to sign up with your MMO, with your platform, and directly you start. Okay, let's look at agent banking liquidity management. Like I explained, I have many slides on this. Now, let me just go straight into what this just talking about how you manage your cash is a key issue in operating models. In this course, is liquidity management is very, very key. It's very, very important because if you don't have cash, your business will die. Most people that visit agents for transactions come to collect cash. Otherwise, they will go straight to the merchant and make payments because even the merchants also have the POS. Okay, so most people that visit agents need cash, and so agents need cash to function. Agents need cash to do their work. It's very important. Okay, let's look at this diagram here. What is liquidity? Liquidity in agency banking or DFS is the ease with which cash can be converted into e-float and vice versa. So when we are talking about liquidity management, we know that cash is a limited resource. Nobody has unlimited cash, including Elon Musk, including Jeff Bezos, including Dangote. Nobody has unlimited cash. Even the American government don't have it. Okay, so everybody is always trying their best to optimize the. As an agent, do you know that I know that an agent who has less money can be more profitable than somebody that has more money at their disposal. Everything is all about liquidity management. You can have 500,000 as your total cash, and you are making more money than somebody who has more than 2 million. if that person is not managing the cash very well. So that's the reason why you need to do this liquidity management. I may not have all the time to explain this, but I hope you are going to get the material and you go through it. So what is liquidity management? So liquidity management in agency banking means the optimal and sustainable handling, controlling, and directing of cash and e-value. So why we are using cash and e-value is because when you are doing transaction, you have the wallet balance or the account balance is your e-value. Cash is the physical naira or dollar or kobo that you have in your location. Okay, so above all agents are being paid to manage liquidity. That is their core job. Okay, the reason why you are being paid is to manage liquidity, but it is difficult, and the providers or agent network managers need to help them do it. So I don't want to go into some of the challenges like you need cash, you go into the bank, they say they're only giving you uh, 5,000. I've spoken so much on this, even on the mass media, and a lot of agents also have spoken. You yourself, you know how it is. But the liquidity management we are talking about is that cash that you have access to, are you optimizing the use of it? Okay, this will take us to the next slide, key factors that affect agent liquidity management. I will just run through this. One is area of operations and target customers, because there is a place where you will stay with 1 million, you will just be there, you cannot exhaust it, but there's a place where you stay, 1 million will not even last for 30 minutes. Before you know it, some people will come and finish the whole money. So it depends on where you are. Then distance from the balancing point. The balancing means where you go to stock up, where you go to collect money to stock one you have, maybe the bank, maybe filling station, maybe retail stations, maybe supermarkets. If they are the people that feed you with cash, what it takes you to go to collect the cash and come back and continue to work. Okay, so structure of the operating model. So how is a model structured? Like deployment with agent network manager, providing those rebalancing facility to agents. Because like, I don't think there is anyone, so it happens in a place like Kenya. I've seen it where the financial institutions or the principals, they engage a floating rebalancing facility or a roaming rebalancing facility. So those people go from time to time. So that app, all the agents use the app. If you are running short of cash, you go into the app and indicate where you are, the level of cash you have. Some even automate it in such a way that it is connected to your wallet directly. So if you are running low of cash, it gives alert to the roaming rebalancing agent, who will now request that you indicate how much you need and all that, and they bring it to you. It's working in some countries in Africa, but in Nigeria, you are the person that is supposed to leave your location, go and queue up in the bank, or you are the person that's supposed to go to the filling station and beg them. Sometimes they sell the cash to you. And as agents ourselves, by the time we buy the cash and we come and start working and we increase the price, people will start crying. But that is the reality of the situation. So we have technological capability. This also is a factor. So advanced real-time capture of transaction activity can reduce the need of more frequent or mandatory rebalancing activity. This one will only happen if the financial institution is equally helping the agents in liquidity management. There are some financial institutions that they don't care. All they care is about the commission they make through the agent. Then we have the cost, benefits, and available resources for the agent network managers. Okay, let's move forward. I wrote so much on this liquidity management, but I don't want us to waste so much time there. All you need to know about liquidity management is how do you manage your cash? Are you managing efficiently? So you need to manage efficiently. Okay, so you go through it, but there are a lot of questions that can come out of this. So let me just mention one. For instance, now from this page, you can see identified ways an agent can optimally manage cash. We have proper cash recycling method, placing limits on volume of transaction, having understanding with the closest bank or the balancing point, then borrowing wisely, and then seeking alliance with businesses that deposit cash on daily basis. I've already mentioned filling station, other retail stations. I mentioned supermarket, and you name them. There are people that they are struggling with cash. They are just looking for who will help them go to the bank and deposit. So if you know them, you can come handy and then have strike a deal with them. They will give you the cash, and then you will now know what to do. Some of them may not even collect commission from you or charge you for that. All they need is make sure that you credit them as soon as the cash touches your hand. Then you take the cash to your location to work. So there could be a question like, which of the following is not a way to optimize the use of cash in liquidity management? So how do you answer it? You look at the answers here. Now, I said this, in some of the exams, it may not exactly be like that. The question is testing your knowledge of understanding this course. It's not actually trying to quote the way these things are written here. We are going to look at examples, hopefully. That's why I'm trying to be faster, so that we have the chance to look at those examples. I hope we'll have time. This is 11:36 already. Okay, so I'll skip some of these things. I'll skip. Okay. But one thing I need to mention about liquidity management is I want to link it to settlement. I want to link it to settlement. So let me quickly move to settlement. But okay, borrowing. Let me equally talk about borrowing. There are some financial institutions that have a platform. If you are one of their key agents, so and you are running short of cash, they may give you access to an overdraft kind of. You have the capacity to initiate an overdraft, which will be returned same day. So maybe it will come with some charges. So this is part of the liquidity. But if you are not a wise agent, because you have access to borrow, you go ahead and just borrow and borrow and borrow and borrow beyond your capacity. If you are borrowing money as an agent, make sure you are using it to do your day-to-day transactions. Don't go and borrow money as an agent, then you go and use it and buy something that you are not, is not related to agency banking. You go and use it and start building a house, or go and use it and buy motor. That's buy a car or something, pay school fees. You run into liquidity crisis. Don't do that. Okay, so you can even have questions arising from something like that, like which of the following activities should an agent borrow money to do? You have a lot of other things. Now, they can give you options that will make sense for somebody to borrow money, but is that person borrowing as an agent or borrowing as an individual who wants to go and lavish money on liabilities? Okay, let's go into settlement. Let's go into settlements. I am trying my best to optimize time. Okay, so what is real-time transaction settlement? Okay, now with real-time transaction settlement, you can receive digital payment in your bank account within seconds. At any time of the day, this can happen. You can transfer payments made on your site, made from your location to your bank account instantly. So you can immediately reinvest in your business and use it to unlock growth opportunities. Now, let me create a background because I understand this very well. Some years ago, precisely around 2005, so I was a clearing officer in a bank, in one of the premier banks in Nigeria. So we are going to the central bank to do clearing and settlement. So I understand clearing and settlement very well. Now, when you see something like T+1, T+2, T+N in settlement, what the T+N is actually talking about is how long it takes to settle a particular transaction. Remember, there is a difference between clearing and settlement, but both are related. When settlement matures, it is cleared. Okay? Now, when the digital payments, that is DFS, digital financial services, have not really advanced to this extent, what we are using in doing transaction usually was manual, like check. We are using checks, we are using bank drafts, we are using managers checks, we are using all sorts of manual processes, we are using cash. Now, digital transactions have advanced. As at that time, there was a time we were even having T+7, which means if a check passes through the clearing system, it takes about 7 days to clear. This I'm telling you now was like around early 2000. Shortly after maybe year 2000, when banks now started doing online, real-time online transactions. Because some years back, as at the time I was in the university, 2019, if you open an account in one bank, it's only in that bank that you'll be doing your transaction. You cannot go to another bank. You cannot even go to another branch of the same bank until banks started online real-time transactions. I think one of the banks that started it first in the East was a Standard Trust Bank that eventually merged with a UBA. That was a bank that my Tony Elumelu came from. And then they merged with UBA, and then Tony Elumelu became the CEO. Okay, now I'm coming from somewhere so that you understand the background very well. Now, from T+7, it was reduced to T+3. In fact, I was in Lagos here in the FITC at Lagos here when that happened, because we were the first pilot people that tested that T+3. And then from there, they will now came up with a check truncation, and we are almost at T+0. Now, what is T+0? T+0 is instant settlement. Now, instant settlement came on board around 2012 when they now had a NIPS instant pay, NIP. Some other financial institution now change it to their acronym. If it is First Bank, they call it First Instant Pay. If it is Zenith, they call it Zenith Instant Pay and all that. You know, white label it the way you want it to fit your organization. Okay. Now, right as we speak, we believe that we have T+0, but that T+0 is not actually in reality, because settlements still happen in delayed time, maybe T+1 the next day. It's just that the financial institution have to create a way to settle that transaction instantly to enable the agent or other entities that transact with it have access to their funds immediately without waiting for the next day, so that they can make use of it. So that is settlement. Okay, so let's look at I hope I've explained what settlement. I started from the manual process. I now went to where the process was improved, where we now have online real-time transactions. Then I tried to explain to you where the N started reducing. N started reducing from 7 to 3, from 3 to 2, then 1, and then we have almost 0 now. But at the back end, it's not 0. The central bank, sorry, the NIPS is not settling your financial institution instantly the way your financial institution is settling you. They are being settled the next day, but they know that they are going to get the money. That is why they are giving to you instantly for you to have access to your cash. Some people were not settling instantly a few years ago, but it was a big disadvantage. People were leaving their platform. They just have to find a way to do that. Okay, so let's look at benefits of real-time transaction settlements. So this is an exam likely question that can come in. Benefits of real-time settlements. 1, cheaper transaction costs. So if a transaction is settled real-time, the cost of transaction will be cheaper. I remember some years back when I was in the bank, we used to have one merchant like that used to sell drinks, all those Nigerian breweries, Nigerian bottling company, Coca-Cola. So this man doesn't have money. He don't get money to do in business. What he does is he leverage on T+7. Okay, no, that time was T+3. That was what he was leveraging on. So what he will do is he will issue a check and he will go and collect all those drinks. And then he will quickly want to sell it so that before that check will now pass through the clearing system, he will have sold those drinks and then he will now go and pay in the money so that the check can clear, it will not bounce. Then, unfortunately for him, that time because it was in my branch then in the bank. So immediately I came for that training on check truncation in the FITC, and I went back, and the T+3 was reduced to T+1. So the man didn't know that the time of settlement has reduced. So he thought it was business as usual. He sent the check today. In less than just after a day interval, his check was returned back to him that he has bounced. The man was panicking, like, he has not stayed 3 days. And I told him that the rules have changed. The rules have changed. So it doesn't stay 3 days again, 4 days or 3 days, as the case may be, that it returns the next day. And that was a very big problem to this man. He was even, sometimes he even came asking me, can we delay the check? Like, can we hold on and not return it? Maybe. I said, there is no, which account will I hide the delay? In the bank, all the accounts must balance. In fact, in clearing in the bank, all the accounts must nil. Any little cover in any account means something is hiding somewhere. Okay? So, and that was how that is business of trying to do all those kind of things collapse. Until the time of NIPS instant pay, that one now is you don't even need to issue check to anybody again. If you collect goods, transfer the money immediately, and we hit the account. Okay, so that's why I'm saying cheaper transaction costs, because if you settle immediately, transactions will be cheaper. Let me explain. Let me read out this so you see what to mean. In the case of card payment, you run the risk of paying a chargeback fee. We know what chargeback means. If you don't know, I will explain. In case of a genuine complaint from the customer, you are also liable to pay the card issuing bank a prefixed amount of every swipe to cover the bank's credit risk in approving the payment. But real-time settlement significantly reduce the overall cost of accepting payment. You can resolve legitimate transaction disputes with customers without paying additional fees to card issuing bank. So I'm trying to explain why real-time transaction settlements makes transactions cost cheaper. Okay, I will not read out other ones, but let me just mention them. Another one is better cash flow. Another one is improved efficiency. And another one is keeps you ahead of the curve. Ahead of the curve means at least you be a bit more efficient and you'll be more competitive. So you may be asked to mention 5 benefits of real-time transaction settlements in this course. I've already told you what they are. Okay, let's go to reconciliation. I think reconciliation is the last topic here, so I will quickly rush through it, and we'll be done. So we'll look at the question, because I really want us to look, even if it is 1 or 2 or 3 questions, we need to look at it. Now our time is really running 11:48. I was supposed to stop by 11:30. Look at where we are, so to drag you too far. Okay, and by the way, we didn't even start early. Okay, so when we talk about reconciliation in agent banking, what do we mean? Agent banking reconciliation or agency banking reconciliation is the accounting task of comparing 2 or more sets of records related to agents' transactions to see if the figures will agree with one another. It helps ensure that your financial activity is properly recorded and the amounts are all accounted for. Now, for the purpose of this exam, let us look at levels of reconciliation in agent banking. 1, there are different levels of reconciliation. 1 is you reconcile with the bank. 2, the bank reconciles within themselves and with you. Then agent also reconciles with aggregator. And then customer reconciles with the agents or with the bank. So these are different levels of reconciliation. Now, let me stress this point. Reconciliation is very key. But you know what? I know so many agents that don't do reconciliation. Maybe even if they are doing it, they are not doing it properly. So it is one aspect. Now, I'm not talking about the exam. I'm not talking about the practical use. If you have a POS shop or somebody is managing your own for you, you should be interested in reconciliation. You are not making money because you are not reconciling, or maybe you are not reconciling well. Because if you are not reconciling well, if you employ somebody, all these girls, you employ them to come and do sales girl for you in your POS shop, they go thief your money finish. You need to understand reconciliation. Now, I'm not trying to make this thing to look so complex. There are so many ways to simplify it. All you need to do is to check the work that the person has done for the day. What are the transactions? Did you do any expense? Did you make any income? Are there some charges, commissions? Are there some chargebacks? Are there some failed transactions that are hanging? And all that. So when you look at all those things, that is what we mean by reconciliation. In the bank, we even do call over when we want to do the reconciliation. And as an agent, you are supposed to do it because an agent is just like a mini bank. Most of us operating in rural locations, they even call us bank in that place. I remember one particular place where I have a location where they call me bank manager. Okay, and they call some of my staff bank manager. So that is the way it is. You are a bank and you really need to function like a bank. So you need to do your reconciliation. Most of us as agents, because of the cost of the paper roll that you put in the POS, we don't put it again. It's very important that you put that paper because it is a key instrument of reconciliation. You do a transaction, you have the merchant copy or the agent copy, and you have the customer copy. If you give the customer his copy, you keep your own copy. You use all these things and do reconciliation. How? One of the things that happen, because money is like a spirit. If it disappears, you don't go with that. With money, you can easily make a mistake. Sometimes somebody want to, I came to an agent location to withdraw 10,000 naira. Sorry, 5,000 naira. The person counted 1,000 naira into 10 and gave to me, thinking that it was 500 naira. You know, 500 times 10 is 5,000. But 1,000 times 10 is 10,000. The person just gave it to me. Now, in her mind, she already brought out 500 and then somehow made mistake and collected the 1,000 that was there. There were two wraps like that. Now, this thing can easily happen. If it is somebody that has that is dubious, okay, the person can easily go with them. I may not know who you gave the thing to. So, but now why I'm stressing about the paper roll is if you print it out, typically like the way they do in the bank, you give the merchant, the agent, the customer, the customer's copy. You print out the merchant's copy. Behind that very paper printout, you now, analyze the process, the way you paid. Like, why? Because as you're looking at the money, your brain is working, telling you this is 1,000. 1,000 times 10. Now, with this kind of analysis, now, if you are looking for the money, you already know who you paid that money. And if hopefully you have the person's phone number or other details to trace the person, you can do that. In the bank as a teller, as a cashier myself, I've used that process to trace error during reconciliation and was able to recover huge sums of money that would have been lost. But these days, what we even see is that people don't even do the printer. Then also, the main call over that you do at the end of the day, where you do end of day runs, you print out all the paper roll, and you are expected to use a pen or pencil and be ticking it one by one against the transactions in your record, in your register. Now, do you even have register? I don't want to go into this slide by slide. I just want to explain, and then we'll now go into questions and answer, and then go into a few of the exam questions. Do you even do it? If you don't do this thing I'm telling you in your location, you are not doing reconciliation. And the day you will lose, in fact, you're already losing money and you don't know. Because you cannot be operating as an agent blindly and you just have to operate like a bank. The way the bank have accountants, the bank have different kind of staff, they have internal control, they have internal audit, they have compliance, they have manager, everybody is doing their job. That is the way it's supposed to be. So there you're supposed to mandate that that person that is working for you should be taken, and then you say you accept that is the main organ or main madam. Every day, also you come in, or maybe even if you cannot do it every day, do it like spot check. Periodically, you come in, say, give me this thing. You bring the register and start ticking. Make sure they have register. Most of the time, I go to withdraw money from audit. They don't even record anything. They will just say, bring your card. You bring card. They don't even print anything. If they make mistake, they can hardly trace it. It's impossible. And most people that come to withdraw money from them hope that they make mistake, and they make mistake from time to time. At least I have seen them make mistake. That one that gave me 10,000 naira, I have already left when I discovered that it wasn't 5,000. I have to go back. And she was, thank God, oh, God bless you, this and that. But there are so many people that will not come back, especially the way Nigeria is now. Now, let's look at, I've already mentioned levels of reconciliation. Let's look at something as benefit of reconciliation. So these are the things you can see in an exam. It will eliminate accounting errors. Then number two, it ensure business transactions are always secure. It will simplify the process of making expenses. If you are reconciling very well, your expenses, you already know. Okay, so you already know how much money you are making and how much expenses you are making in a day, and so many things will be easy. Then it will save your business money if you are doing reconciliation. If you are not doing reconciliation, you are losing money. Then it will help you identify unauthorized transactions and check employee fraud. Yes, some of the people that are doing house sales girl for you and all that, they are stealing your money, but because you're not doing reconciliation, you don't know. And God help you. By the time this thing will accumulate to become so big, when you are using a lot of money to do business, you're not going to know when you lose money because you have a lot of money. You don't know. But small, 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 gradually, the 5 million will become 3 million. The 3 million will become 2 million. The 2 million will become 1 million. And before you know it, the person doing business with you will run away because he or she knows he has already stolen enough. So you will not want to remain there. You tell you, I want to go and write jam. My brother in Lokoja is asking me to come. Then you allow the person to go. You already have employed another person. Before you know it, uh, something else has already happened. By the time you discover it, difficult for you to trace that person. Okay, let's look at 4 steps in agent bank. I'm rounding up already. Rounding up. So let's look at 4 steps in agent banking reconciliation. One, identify transactions that you can't cross-reference or pinpoint in your records. So any transaction that you can't cross-reference, that's, for instance, you are recording first transaction in your register, because you have to have a manual register. It's very important. If you don't have register in fact, in agency banking regulation by the CBN, you need to have a register. It's very important. So if you are not having a register, it's a compliance issue. You are not complying. But apart from beyond that compliance, you need it now in order to do your reconciliation. Okay? So now, what are you comparing with the register? It is the printout from the POS or from your mobile or even from your laptop, from that platform, the platform you are using. You are comparing it with what is physically written. So if there's any transaction you can see in this, and you cannot see it in the other one, it's an issue. You flag it, it's a red flag. Okay, you identify that. Then step 2, verify all transactions on audit trail reports against your records. How do you get your audit trail report? Audit trail comes from either the platform or from the records on the POS. Like if you do end of day and you run it, it will start printing. All those things will be coming. See, the money you spend to buy paper roll and put in the POS is very, very minimal. It's very, very small compared to the money you lose if you don't do this thing I'm telling you. Okay? So don't be one of those people that don't want to go and buy paper and put inside the POS. Now, number 3, contact parties involved for suspected errors and make effort for prompt corrections. Now, how do you contact people you don't have their phone number or a way to reach them? That is why when you ask people to do transaction, find a way to get their contact. Especially people that are withdrawing or depositing big amount of money. How can somebody come and withdraw 500,000 from you and you don't have the person's phone number? That's crazy. Or somebody come and deposit 5 million and the person just walk away like you collect the person's. See, in my own location, I even snap them. Sometimes they may not know that I'm snapping them. Yes, because I've had experiences where police will come and say you should provide a picture of somebody that did the transaction in your location. And by the way, some of the POS or some of the devices supposed to capture the person that did. If you do a transaction in your location, maybe it's a kiosk. All these people that are using agent location to cash out ransom money, kidnapping and all that. If you can't provide enough evidence, you just go to jail. I have a lot of people in Amban, okay, that police have come to grab them like that, and the association were running up and down trying to save them. And some of them were careless enough that they didn't even, they were not careful to get some of this information. They don't even have the phone number of the person that they paid. They don't even have a trace of how the person looked like. And a lot of money have gone under. Okay? Somebody come to your location and say, somebody wants to send money to me, but my account has a problem, blah, blah, blah. Please, let me transfer the money to you. You will now take 500,000 and transfer the... Why? Don't do that. It's a red flag. Let people use their account to receive money. And place a limit on how much you can pay people. I'm saying these things because I know it's a big danger. You may not see this one in the exam, but this one will help you in your work. So be very smart. Recently, there was a case of somebody that used one of the agent platform to, this one now is an aggregator, but the agent under him used the platform in order to do a transaction that defaulted to collecting ransom from a kidnapper. And they went all the way from Anambra to Oshogbo in Osun State to pick that person. They came from Newi to Oshogbo to pick the person and put inside the police station there. We had to rally around to do something. There was also one person that wanted to do his wedding in Lokoja in Kogi State. This kind of similar situation, they came all the way from Umuahia in Abia State to pick the guy. His wedding was within the weekend, and they picked him within the week. We started running up and down. So what I'm saying generally is, do all you can to protect yourself so that in the process of reconciliation, you'll be able to sail through. And apart from reconciliation, what about all these other parties, law enforcement, compliance teams, and all that? You have your uh, build something, a system around you to checkmate some of those things from making you to fall a victim. So now why I started telling all these stories is contacting parties involved. Now you see the reason why you need to get their phone number, or at least to understand where they are coming from. And when people come with the wrong intention, when they want to defraud you, if you ask their phone number, they will not give you. So is that not enough for you to discharge them? You must not attend to all the customers. You must not serve everybody that come to your location. Anyway, I don't want to overstress that because of our time. Then always maintain a balanced set of books. Some of you don't even have book at all. Okay. In my agent banking location, at least a typical location, I don't have less than 4 to 5 books. And the person must use them from time to time to help us. Some of you don't have. The only thing you do is somebody come to do a withdrawal, you give the person the POS, put the card inside, the person, and they will even do any printout. When anything wants to happen to you in that kind of place, you will not have anywhere to save yourself. Okay, it's very important to reconcile transactions from time to time as far as agent banking business is concerned, both from the bank, fintech, and agent and cardholders' point of view. Okay, then in this manual, I've included common POS error messages and possible solutions. So these are the things that when you see it on the POS, these are possible errors and these are possible solutions. So for instance, the first one now says license invalid. So what do you do to solve it? Ensure the terminal has the right application IP address. If the issue persists, contact your account officer and all that. So I've included them here. Okay, so let me end with this. I think that's it. This one is end of day profit and loss calculation for agent outlet. You know, because as an agent, you need to make money. You are here to do business and make profit. Okay. So some of you, after reconciliation, the next thing is to do your profit calculation, profit and loss calculation, and find out whether you have made money. And this calculation, you need to do it every day. Every day, you need to be sure you are making money. So if you're not making money, you close down the business. You are not there to waste your money. Maybe because you borrowed money or maybe they gave you money to do business. You are just operating blindly. So important parameters for the end of day profit and loss calculation. So in an exam, you can see something like parameters for end of day profit and loss calculation for agent outlets. The first one we have is opening balance totals, opening balance. So we call it OB here. Then we have closing balance, we call it CB. Then platform charges, including bank charges, VAT, or any other tax. So platform charges is PC here. They will have running expenses, for instance, data, phone calls, electricity, even rent, and every other thing like that. So we have AX. So profit and loss or gross profit and loss, we can just summarize it like this. GP is equal to CB minus OB plus PC plus. I will explain this thing now. Now, this formula is not the almighty formula. It's not the formula that you must use. All I'm trying to explain here is you find a way to calculate your profit because it's very important at the end of the day. Now, this gross profit is, now, for instance, if you start work in the morning now, uh, your balance, let's assume your balance is zero, okay? So opening balance is zero. Let's assume that you zeroize your balance every day, and you should, okay, on an operating wallet account. Now, if you start now, as you are doing transaction, your balance, that's credit balance now, not debit balance, will be increasing. As you are making income, as in you are gathering commission, the balance will be increasing. Now, the balance we are talking about is not only the virtual balance in the account. The cash at hand, the cash you equally have is there. That's why you need to have a physical record to record how much profit for that. If opening balance now is zero, then the platform charges plus the expenses, if you subtract it from the closing balance, you are going to get the gross profit. Now, why we are saying gross profit is because it's not net profit, because there are other expenses like maybe the salaries of the staff, the rent, and other overheads that we may not put into consideration. So when you do that now, a positive value means that profit has been made. A zero means that there has been a break even, neither profit nor loss. A negative value means that a loss has been made. So every agent must ensure that P&L calculations are done every day so that the business remains profitable. This equally applies to other stakeholders, including banks, MMOs, and so on. Okay, so we are expected to do, assuming this training is usually like a full day or sometimes 2 days. Like if I do it in NIPS or the one I could do in a CBN International Institute, it's usually 2 or 3, 2 days, full day something, but we are just doing it in hours. So that's why I'm trying to summarize. So we are supposed to have case studies, live settlement reports, analysis. We're supposed to do reconciliation with raw data from agent platforms, then do dispute solutions, and then all that. Okay, so do question and answers. But we'll do question and answer. Let me start first by the this thing. Let me show you some of the previous practice questions. So let me show you some of the practice questions for this course: operating models, channels, and services. So let me project, and then we'll look at the answers together. Okay, then we'll compare it with what we have just done. Okay, this in if you can see this, please let me know. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So these examples, this one is a objective test. So the first one is, what are the key features of FINCRA's financial technology solutions? Okay. So it has a payment gateway that supports only credit card transactions, virtual accounts, provide real-time visibility into transactions, streamline reconciliation process, and reduce fraud risk. C, e-wallet solution limited to only paying bills online. D, API integration that restricts customization of financial services offering. So can anybody answer this? If you can, let me see your hand up. Any answer? I'll quickly run down so that you can ask me questions and then we'll close. We cannot stay beyond 12:30 because we're actually supposed to close by 11:30. So we've taken like 1 hour. Any question, anybody that has the answer? Okay, let me project an answer. So let's go to that answer for that particular question. Okay. Okay, let me increase a bit. Let me increase it a bit. Okay, so these are answers. Now, look at the answer to that now. FinCras offers a comprehensive suite of financial technology solutions designed to facilitate seamless local and international payments for business. Key features of FinCras offerings include. Now, the answer is virtual account provide real-time visibility into transaction, streamline reconciliation processes, and reduce fraud risk. That is the answer. But I'm just trying to give you a fuller information about this FinCras method. So, where we have virtual accounts, payment and collections, e-wallet solutions, and API integration. Okay. So now let's look at another question. These are the likely ways the questions can come. So now let's look at another one. We have this one. I the one I explained from the beginning. What's the main difference between agent banking and agency banking? Okay, the main difference between agent banking and agency bank. So in agent banking, the agent does not earn a commission for transactions, whereas in agency banking, the agency earns a commission. That is not true. So A is not correct. B, in agent banking, the agent provides service on behalf of the bank and represents their community. Let me use uh, let me do something so that let me uncheck this thing. The yellow color, kind of. Let me remove it. So you'll be seeing my cursor. Okay, so we're number 2. B. In agent banking, the agent provides services on behalf of the bank and represent the bank in their community. While in agency banking, the agency provides services on behalf of the bank, but does not necessarily represent the bank in their community. That's not true. C. Agency banking allows for a wider range of services than agent banking, including loan disbursement and account opening. Then the agent banking is exclusively offered by non-banking entities, whereas agency banking is offered by licensed financial institution. Now, which one is the correct one? Who can tell us the correct answer here? I need people to raise hands up now so we know we're in a class. I want this to be interactive. Do I have people in this class?
Yes, you have.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Please answer now. Please answer. Let me be sure that we will. You are saying in agent banking, the agent provides the bank and represent the bank, while agency banking, the agency provides service on behalf of the bank, does not necessarily represent the
D is
community.
the answer.
D.
D
okay,
is the answer.
Okay,
Yes.
agent banking is exclusively offered by non-banking entities, whereas agency banking is offered by licensed financial institutions. Okay, now let me go. Let's look at the answer I have here. Okay, so that is number 2.
I think
now, hold on. See the answer I have here.
I've said C from the beginning.
Hold on. Now, most of the questions that will come to you may not come directly the way we designed the manual or the slide that I used to teach you. All you need to do is common sense. If it is objective test, then it's up to you to select. Sometimes the objective test answers may look conflicting. But if it is a theory, either the KBQ, that is the knowledge-based questions, or the, please, somebody should, Fred, please, mute yourself. Fred Alabi, Oluwa Kemishola, mute yourself. Thank you. So if it is knowledge-based or scenario-based questions, then you have the opportunity to explain. So I chose B here, and the B says in agent banking, the agent provides service on behalf of the bank and represent the bank in their community. While in agency banking, the agency provides services on behalf of the bank and does not necessarily represent the bank in their community. Why? Explanation. Agent banking refers to an individual. Remember when I started, I said individual is agent, one agent, individual, or maybe one agent that has a number of locations, but it is just one person, not an entity that is corporate. Okay. So now agency banking is a broader term that includes agents banking, but can also involves larger entities as business organizations that provide financial services on behalf of agents. Agencies do not always represent the bank directly in their business, but rather act as intermediaries facilitating banking services. Like I said, I consider myself as an agency, but I have that are directly under in various rural locations like that. Okay, let's look at why are the other options incorrect. A, agents typically earn commission in both agent and agency banking models, but the other one, they say the agent is not earning commission. Then C, both models can offer a wide range of services, including loan disbursement and account opening, depending on the regulatory framework. So it's not only the agency that can give loan. In fact, anything that the agency can do, the agent can equally do it. Then D, agent banking is not exclusively offered by non-banking entities, and agency banking can also be conducted through third-party businesses, not just licensed financial institutions. Okay, you remember when the CAC came up with compulsory registering of business and all that. One of the things that Amban used to try to um, argue that is because an agent who is an individual is allowed under the CBN guideline to do his agent's banking business, not necessarily as a corporate entity. Okay, so that is why we took B as the answer. Any question? There are so many other things. I will maybe finally I will share this with you. This answer, I will share it. I'll forward it to Israel, who can now share it with you. So you look at it hand in hand. This, I'm just giving you an idea of how the questions can come. So you may be thinking that it will come in one way, then it will come in another way, because this is something to test your knowledge. If you have done CIBN, me, I wrote CIBN while I was working in the bank. I think I was even, okay, I was a senior banking officer, SBO, before I wrote CIBN. Okay, so it's almost the same pattern of questions. That is CIBN, the associate level. Okay, so it's almost the same pattern. You don't expect it to be like junior work because you are professionals. So it requires you making use of your brain to think before you can answer. Okay, we've come to the end of the training. So I expect to get questions, feedbacks, and all that. I want to hand over back to Israel to anchor this. Israel, are you there?
Yes, all right. Thank you very much, sir. So based on our time, so let's make it fast. So if you have any question, please raise up your hand so you can call by our names to be orderly. So please, if you have any question, please raise up your hand. So let's do this very quick because the next facilitator for the intermediate level is around already. So let's quickly do this, please. So any question, raise up your hand. So I call you, you ask a question, and doctor answers your question. Then we move on. Okay. Delphine, please, over to you. Delphine, you
Hello, can
can,
you hear me?
yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, good afternoon. Hello.
Yeah, good
Yeah, we
afternoon.
can hear you. Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Okay. My question is this: in the course of the study, you say that you are going to throw light on how to monetize customer education and issue resolution. Please, can you enlighten me more on that?
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Um, you know, one of the ways and is to the public to have a service that people are interested in. I remember some of my locations in the village, there are some issues that used to arise that will require customers to go to the bank. Now, like I said from the beginning, we have few banks across all local governments. In fact, I gave you example. Like Bauchi State. In a place like Bauchi, we have banks only in Bauchi Town and Azari. Okay, maybe a few places in Bauchi Town could be one of too few branches, but at the major places you see bank, bank branch as
Listen, I could not hear those parts. Your network is breaking, sir.
somebody operating to gas.
Hello, Doc.
What's happening? The system is not clear.
Yeah, I think
Is it from
his
my
network
end?
I think his network have dropped him off.
Okay.
Okay, lovely. So those that have question, please send to me personally to my DM. So I'll send to him, respond. I'll send back to you again. I think that would be nice. Go consider our time.
Okay, is this Mr. Israel, right?
Yeah. This is Drew.
Okay.
So please.
Hello, can anybody hear?
Okay, he's back. Okay,
Can
welcome back,
anybody hear
sir.
me?
Yeah, we can hear you now, sir.
Sorry,
Give me like 10 minutes now. I'll call you back.
sorry. I was talking and talking. I didn't know that I was no longer there. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, sir. We can hear you now, sir.
Sorry, let me conclude the answer to that question. So what I'm not trying to say is that people do and minus. Now, imagine going all the way from the village to where the bank is, and you calculate how much it will cost you. And you discover that to go from the village to where that bank is let's say, 2,000 naira. And coming back is 4,000 naira. There are some services like, let me say, for instance, accounts, a particular account update, or maybe account dormant account reactivation, or similar things like that. Let me tell you, some of you agents are not going closer to the banks. Some banks' policy restricts agents in doing some things, but if you go closer to the account officers or the customer service department of the institution that you are agent to. Of course, agents are multiple operators. Like if you are an agent, you are not an agent to one institution. So you look at the people you are serving, the financial institutions, and then you know who are offering services that you can actually monetize. Now, because of your track record, you've been with this financial institution for so and so time, and they trust you, and they know that you cannot bring them to disrepute, and you have so much at stake as well. There are some small transactions with very low risk that they will give you the opportunity, which will not be given to other agents. Say, for instance, this dormant account reactivation, for instance. Now, some people use AI, like I do training for Zenith Bank. From time they do UI to do even dormant account is reactivation. The platform like Ziva and AI Ziva can do that. Now, you can, on behalf of customers, take up a service like that. Now, for this, instead of this person to go all the way to the bank in order to reactivate a dormant account, you can put a fee, or if you want to do dormant account reactivation. Okay, I'm going to collect 700 naira from you. All you need to do is to give me all the details. When the customer gives you all the details, you have a way of forwarding it to the bank, either through WhatsApp, through different ways like that. Then let me give you another service that you can make a lot of money through it. Something like Skumu. Now, Skumu is not directly an agent banking service, and the EFCC will tell you that Skumu is free. They will tell you that it's free. But is it actually free? It's just like Bell is free. Now, you are not collecting money because people are doing Skumu, but you are an agent. You have transportation to pay. You have data to run. You have a lot of things to do. I remember the last time I collected Skumu, I paid as much as 60,000 naira for it. And I know somebody who paid up to 150,000. People are willing to pay for it. All you need to do is to establish a contact that when you send all those documents to, they will process the school. And by the way, Skumu is online. It's a free service anybody can do online. But if you do it online, will they release the decision? Okay, that you know that by the time this thing flows, you do your back end whatever, and then the thing is done. There are so many things, both to do with the bank, both with other institutions that are not directly with bank, okay, that can fetch an agent money. All you need to do is to identify them and then go to the back end and make the necessary arrangements so that by the time you start rendering that service, you will not run into that is exactly what the banks do as well. That's exactly what do we even do in the bank. What we do is we establish the necessary collaboration. When customers will come, we will not give them form, fill this one. If it's a customer that wants treasury bill, of course, we have already done all we need to do, all the integrations with the central bank, so that when you come for treasury bill, we process it, and then at the back end, the central bank treats it and all that. That is what the banks do. So typically, as an agent yourself, you equally do it. And let me even advise now, let me give you this advice. Don't restrict yourself only to banking. That is the things that the banks restrict you to. There are some other, because I've been issue. You are not supposed to be just doing cash in and cash out. You are supposed to be operating something like maybe selling something, doing business center, rendering a service before you now qualify to do agency banking. It's still like that in the CBN regulation for agency banking. So it will not be out of place if you go, for instance, this Wave that I mentioned, which is an e-banking platform. They have a lot of commission to give for people who are operating as their agents as well, and does not conflict with what you're already doing. There are some vehicle companies also that can deploy different things through an agent, provided you are willing to do what you are supposed to do for them to push their business forward. You can function as an affiliate of different kind of companies. Do you understand? But specifically for bank, there are a lot of things people go to the bank to queue up to do, which you can do from your location. And when the person does that calculation that going to the bank is 2,000, coming back is 2,000, I spend 4,000 with time wasted. And this person can do it with less than 1,000. Many of them will do it. Let me tell you, in 2020, during the time of coronavirus, Abi, that's coronavirus, yes. Do you know that
Hello, sir. We can't hear you again, sir.
transactions. Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me now?
Yes, sir. Can you
Yes,
hear
we
you?
can
Yes, sir.
hear you.
Uh-huh. So you see, there are ways to do. All you need to do is to look at what we are doing. And I don't want to stress this thing. In case you want to take this conversation further, I'm willing to do that. All you need to do is to contact me. I believe that you have my phone number. So I'm very, very, very free. Anytime you have opportunity to be in my class, if you want to contact me after the class, ask me questions. I will always answer you. I don't have any problem with that. So Israel, you can display my number. So anybody who has further questions, so that we not waste time. The next facilitator is on ground. It's already 12:30. Please, we can move forward. You
All
have
right, sir.
access to me now.
All
Go
right, sir. Thank you, sir. I'll share doctor's number in the WhatsApp group. So if you have any further questions or further explanations, so you can message him or call him personally on his number. I'll send you a group now. So, sir, we want to say thank you for your time, for your teaching, for your lecture. So God will continue to uphold you the more. Say thank you, sir. And for foundation level, one more thing. Sorry. So next week, we are done with the class for the foundation class, but next week, Saturday by 10, there's just we need just 30 minutes or 45 minutes of time to show you how to use the examination platform. So we're calling the software developers who created the software. So they'll come and explain to us how to use the exam platform, how to log in, how to do the exam, and so on. So you understand? So next week by 10 o'clock, it will just take us 30 minutes, maximum 45 minutes, maybe based on people asking questions. So your system should be ready by 10 next week Saturday. So he can put us through on how to install the application and how to use the exam application next week. So that's just all for now for me. So the other announcement will be made on the
I'm leaving the platform. Thank you so much,
all right,
ladies and
thank you,
gentlemen.
sir.
I wish you the best.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. So
Thank you, doctor. Wish
we
you
can all log out
care.
now. So the intermediate level will be coming in now.
That's
So
Thank you.
we can all drop the call now. Thank you very much.